It's BBLoBB time. Let's talk about what happened this week. My week went pretty okay, actually, aside from this miss next game lineman due to -1 MA, which at the end of the day isn't the end of the world. It's a little unfortunate, it's a little annoying, but I can live without it, I guess. Long term, this piece will probably just be a line of scrimmage fodder piece. If it hits level 2, I will probably give it sidestep first instead of dodge, just to help it stay in the mix, stay annoying, do annoying lineman things. Christian Dunkel isn't going to get that much farther. Probably avoid pretty much giving SPP to him, but we'll see what happens. On the plus side, everybody is now with 1 SPP at least, which is good. I actually have a few pieces within MVP range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I guess 7. So yeah, most of my team's 1 MVP away from leveling up, which is good. Amber the World does a little more work, and she will also be really close to leveling up. Level 4 is pretty close, especially for an elf team. 2 touchdowns and a pass, or a couple injuries and a touchdown, or some just elfiness is not that far off. Next step will be strip ball, because leap plus 5 agility plus strip ball is a really good thing. Almost had a miss next game on this piece, I think, or something bad. Maybe, I don't remember. I had something on apothecary that was like a minus AV, maybe. Maybe it was on one of the linemen. I don't remember. Either way, it was a near disaster. Catchers didn't level up. That's probably the biggest problem I have right now. Most biggest problem. But hopefully next week I can do that. Harder, better, faster logger is 1 touchdown away, and 1 touchdown and a little bit of passing can put 1 more Stein in there. Get these guys some dodge, which will make them a lot better. 120 in the bank. I could afford to buy another catcher. The reason I'm not is I'm very aware of the fact that I may be in a position where I need to replace a blitzer or someone expensive, and I kind of don't need another level 1 catcher right now. I'm going to have, let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So I'm going to be down to 11 players again, or down to 10 players, so I'll have a loner next week, which is a little unfortunate. Because obviously I'd like to be leveling up pieces instead of having loners. I just want to die horribly. So the argument could be made there. I could maybe buy somebody else to avoid that, but I would rather, worst case scenario, buy a loner than have to worry about that. So, is what it is. Not a bad week though. I got a fair amount of SPP, not a bunch, but a fair amount of SPP. Nobody was really hurt significantly. Let's call it a wash. Gained a fan factor too, so back up to 3, which is good. Let's take a look at the game. If you haven't watched it, it'll be up here. Played against Orville. And kind of a weird game. First couple turns were really bad. First half was really not that good for me. Just dice were not cooperating. And then the second half, things just worked. My players finally remember they're playing on an elf team, and that's what they should be doing. But yeah, not a terrible week. Considering the weeks I've had, this is a really good week, actually. 3 passes, casualty, so nothing great. With 2 touchdowns in the MVP, it puts me at 16 SPP, but still, considering the last couple weeks I've had, I will take that. Also rolled 70, which is really, really nice. I'm pretty happy to have that much money again. Orville, basically the same thing me. I did, except he got more KOs and more, well, he removed more of my stuff, and he hurt me a little bit harder. So yeah, 2 casualties, pretty good. Puts him at 18 SPP, really good. Absolutely nothing to complain about. One thing I will say is we traded blitzes here, which kind of helped keep this game even, and also Orville ate a rock, which made my life pretty good. Winning the fame roll helped quite a bit here as well. Right, I rolled a 6, so I needed the fame to get to 70. Still, a 2-2 game. Could have been better. I think either of us probably could have won this game, but Elf Ball was pretty wily, and Orville got a little unlucky towards the end, so is what it is. But yeah, not a bad week for either of us. No huge long-term injuries. I mean, I guess -1 MA is a long-term injury, but it's not a huge deal, all things considered. Minus AV is a bigger problem at that point. Let's take a look at Orville's team. Yeah, so miss next game on this lineman. Mine's got a permanent MA penalty, but otherwise basically the same. 2 SVP linemen out for the next game, not the end of the world. Don't remember. I think this catcher leveled up in that game. Maybe? I don't remember. No, he had the plus agility there. Who leveled up? Maybe that thrower? Thor's got block now. This Blitzer for sure leveled up and got plus strength, and that's a really big deal. One of the things human teams struggle with a lot is strength. They can mitigate that by getting guard across the board on their Blitzers, but 4 strength helps solve a lot of those problems really nicely, and you know what? He's got 8 SPP already. With 4 strength, he'll probably get more pretty quickly. Pretty good day. I continued my trend of throwing SPP at the fists of my opponent's big guys, though. Grimlock made it to 4 SPP, so 1 injury away from hitting level 2, which will add more guard to this team, which is very, very nice. This catcher got block. I don't know if we talked about Ice Cream last time or what, but block is certainly good. This piece is a little too catchy for me, but is what it is. With Strong Arm here, could get leader and a little bit more of a throwing, catching setup, but as we talked about last week, it's not my favorite thing to do. At this point, I would say Orville can definitely start picking up another catcher. At least 1 wouldn't hurt. Knock him back down to 70, at which point he can afford to rehire the Blitzers as long as he rolls better than a 2, or a 2 or better. So as long as he rolls the 2+, he should be okay. Not that I should, as someone who's failed a lot of those, that's something you would want on somebody, but it's an option, right? So I would say hiring a 3rd catcher is good. I mean, these 2 are both level 2 and level 3, so that's perfectly good. Getting another one here so you can get a wrestle strip ball platform is really good. I would recommend that a lot. Or wrestle tackle. Either way, getting another piece in here will definitely help. Some sort of ball retrieval platform, definitely very good. And as always, I mean, Ramrod got some SPP. Snake Eyes did Snake Eyes things and didn't roll very well. But still, both of these Blitzers being close to level 2 is good. Same target as always, though, getting the Blitzers up. So I would say hire the catcher just to keep things going, but I would for sure get the Blitzers in here. Yeah, so pretty good week for Orville. Not a lot to complain about. We take a look at Grey Duck versus Jessup. This was a weird game. This is a really weird game. Grey Duck's armor would not stay together, basically, is a short version. It got 60k though, so that's not too bad. Oh, I didn't check Orville's winnings. Sorry. We'll come back. We'll come back to that game, I promise. Orville. 30k, so that kind of sucks, but still. I think you could definitely afford to buy another catcher. Where were we? Yes, Grey Duck. Yeah, Grey Duck's armor would not stay together, is sort of the short version of this. You can kind of see it here. 4 casualties, 3 KOs. There was Sweltering Heat as well, so that took out some players on the Dark Elf side. Not ideal, to say the least. It was... I mean, Grey Duck played the Elf Ball game pretty well. I think if she had gotten a little luckier, she could have won this 2-1. But considering how many people were removed, I think she did okay. I don't know, Jessup's teams hit way harder than they should, and their armor doesn't break as often as it should. So it is what it is. Really good week for Jessup again. Somebody stop this man. Total of 8, 12, 17, 20 SPP again. I think it's like his 3rd week of 20 plus SPP weeks. Absolutely huge. Really good for him. Grey Duck walking away with a much smaller number, but not a bad number at all. 4 passes, 2 casualties, with a touchdown, 16 SPP, so same as me. Not too bad. A little bit more would obviously be more helpful, but I think at the end of the day, 16 is still a pretty happy number. The bad news is, though, is she's got miss next games on these 2 Blitzers. One was an Apothecary away from, I want to say, minus MA or minus AV. Either way, it was something silly. It was another miss next game with an injury, so trading a miss next game for an injury for just a miss next game is a good Apothecary use in my book. But missing both of these Blitzers is a pretty big deal. We're looking at a rematch of Week 6 next week, so we'll talk about that as we go, but missing 2 Blitzers is a huge, huge problem. She doesn't have enough money for her second Witch Elf. She has 3 rerolls now. I think it's time to get the second Witch Elf. You could make the argument that it would be really good to pick up a Assassin at this point, because there are a lot of low AV teams in the league, and an Assassin would help punch through some of those. But I think the Witch Elf gives more, and more importantly, the Witch Elf does much more with the levels than an Assassin does. An Assassin is pretty good out of the box. A Witch Elf needs all the SCP in the universe, basically. They're really good platforms that have really good skills to begin with, and they get even better when you add more to them. Next Witch Elf probably should get block, although I wouldn't falter for getting another wrestle piece on the Witch Elf. Either way, that's the target. This Blitzer is pretty close to getting level 3. I'd probably target him for a touchdown. Fast Eddie continues to just be whatever. Runner could level up, but it's not essential. Honestly, Friar Tuck leveling up is probably more important. I would say getting Buckets the the Fudge Splasher up to some SPP would be good too. Just like any elf team, you want all of your players to have at least one SPP, and it's not hard to do, so it's something that I would recommend doing for sure. But still, I mean, missing both these blitzers sucks, but her team is developing pretty nicely. No long-term problems, no removals besides the one dead lineman from week 1, so I'd say she's doing pretty good. Winnings roll has been pretty solid. High, actually pretty high with all these 6s here. So yeah, I think she's doing fine considering how expensive all these players are. Hiring the second Witch Elf, and then you can start looking at assassins, essentially. Maybe another runner as well. I think getting another assassin wouldn't be a bad thing, though. Assassins are pretty good. I would definitely say one assassin would be worth it before a second runner, but that's sort of my personal bias towards loving to stab things. Let's take a look at Jessup's monstrous team. 80k for Jessup because Jessup rolls crazy, apparently. Yeah, a phenomenal week for Jessup. The Giving Tree did terrible. Once again, the tree formed very poorly the first, like, 2/3 of the game, and then started to do some things at the end, but not a lot, really. Thrower's back, which is good. Level up on the War Dancer, and you got Frenzy, which I don't like. Yes, I really like Frenzy on War Dancers. Don't get me wrong, Leap plus Frenzy plus Blodge is amazing, and it's really, really good. But the biggest problem I have with Frenzy, aside from the fact that it's not... Well, how can I explain this? Frenzy is really good with a team as developed as Jessup's. It's absolutely great. He's got 2 guard pieces, so he can definitely... Well, one of them's a mobile guard piece, one's a tree. But either way, he's got enough guard where Frenzy can be used... Leap plus Frenzy can be used to shove somebody out from unexpected angles, and that's awesome. But there's a reason people get Strip Ball first on War Dancers. I mean, I'm sure everybody is happy to not have to deal with a Strip Ball War Dancer right away, but I think that's a mistake. Just me, though. What else do we have here? I think this catcher leveled up this week. Yeah, catcher got block, which I think is good. I would have gotten 4 leap, but that's me. Further skills, I would say sidestep's probably next. Could make an argument for diving catch if you want to be sassy, but I think sidestep is the most logical and safest choice out of all of these. Sure feet if you want to go for more of the hardcore scoring, which I don't like, but that's my opinion. Any other level ups? I thought somebody else got one, but probably not, looking at what we've got here. I should say, while I shit-talked diving tackle, it did do some work. Great X Bad Dice probably helped more with that, but I don't know. Whatever. My next game on Wumpy here, which is a little annoying, but Jessup's got enough alignment, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Stompy the Bear, 1 SPP away. We'll pass, take care of that, no problem. And then we'll have our first level 2+ team, assuming he doesn't hire anybody soon. 20k to the next War Dancer, that should be his target. I mean, Jessup doesn't like to listen to me when it comes to player choices anyway, so who knows what he'll get. But I think War Dancer number 2 is the way to go, absolutely. What else do we have here? I don't know why I skipped Andrew and Zach. I just did, apparently. I haven't watched this game yet because nobody's exported it from Twitch to YouTube. Eventually, it'll be up here. Kind of a weird game from the looks of it. A 1-1 tie between both teams. Fair amount of casualties. Fair amount. A couple of casualties. Ooh, and a death. So we'll look at that in a little bit here. 60k for Andrew, which is pretty good. I would guess Andrew kind of got bogged down, and I would guess that Zach couldn't seal the deal either. I'm guessing they just ran at each other, and bad things kind of happened. A huge number of KO sustained and casualties sustained, despite only 2 casualties being dealt out. So let's see here. 2 tackles. So maybe a rock or a GFI failure in here resulted in a casualty of some variety. This is way too many casualties, though, for what was dished out. I guess the tackles were a thing. Should not be dodging with this team, I guess, would be the lesson I would say. They can, but something you want to avoid if at all possible. Yeah, that looks like it was the biggest thing here. Once again, almost getting the injury SPP is a little unfortunate. So let's look at the numbers here. Andrew walks away with 8-10. Zach walks away with a little bit more with 12, which is good because Zach really needs the SPP, but obviously not super great. I'm guessing, I don't know what he got. That could be a factor too. It could have been a wizard zap, I guess. So that could be the other factor as well. Let's take a look at the damage, though. Rotter level up, not ideal, but is what it is. Miss next game on this Rotter. A little unfortunate there. Broken neck on another Rotter. This is the block Rotter. This is fine. You don't really want to do a lot with Rotters anyway. Kind of unfortunate, obviously, but is what it is. Miss next game on the Spestiger. Luckily, nothing more than that. I'm guessing this is probably one of the ones he failed to dodge with, but either way. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of annoying. He did buy another Pestiger. Looks like this Pestiger got the touchdown as well. Hooray, Gary 15. And Skinny Jean, God of Hipsters, is our first Necromancer Resurrected player. I'm really glad this has happened. I was really worried it wasn't going to. But congratulations, new Rotter. 130 for Andrew with his 60k roll. Should hire Pestiger number 3. Might want to consider firing a Rotter in the future. But actually, he's got enough... He has enough space here where he could hire both Pestigers and still be okay. That said, I would... I don't know. If this one didn't have a skill already, I'd say fire this one. Gary 33 might be worth firing. Not the end of the world if he doesn't, but it's something I would consider. It's kind of annoying because he got the MVP at one point, but hey. Beast of Nurgle looks like he got an MVP, so that's good. These other Nurgle warriors not getting any SPP again is unfortunate, but hopefully that can turn around. I mean, all things considered, this team is doing pretty okay. Could be doing better, but it'll have 3 Pestigers after this next week. Assuming nothing bad happens to the 2 Pestigers that are going to be in the game, but I think that'll be okay. So yeah, hire another Pestiger. Keep going from there. You know, hopefully the Nurgle warriors remember what breaking armor looks like, or learn what breaking armor looks like, and can do more from there. Let's take a look at Zach's team now that I'm not skipping this game for some reason. No miss next games. Looks like Loner picked up the MVP and Zach decided to hire him, which I don't know if I love. 40k. I don't know if I love this just because, yes, you need SPP on this team, and otherwise you'd only be walking away with 7, but I feel like that money is better spent on rehiring this werewolf that you should be firing. So I don't know. That kind of sucks. This werewolf has to go, though. There's no reason this player should stick around. It's annoying to lose this 4 SVP, but this player has to go. It's contributing absolutely nothing, so it just needs to get fired immediately. Otherwise, I don't know. He's got a bunch of players that are pretty close. Just needs more SVP in general, I think. Hopefully this team can start turning around, because right now he's in a very precarious spot where the other teams are going to start hitting harder than him. And that's not a good place to be. Let's see here. Other match of the week was a tie game between Mark and Chris. Another weird game. I'm trying to remember exactly what happened, but I don't know. I think the biggest thing here is Chris hit a lot early on. Regeneration actually did something this time around, which was good. I don't know. I guess basically Mark was able to outmaneuver him at one point in order to get in there. I think Mark maybe could have made this a 1-0. Chris got pretty lucky at the end of the first half. I mean, I say lucky in a broader sense. It wasn't a hard touchdown. It was 2 GFIs and the pickup with a thrower. So a little bit risky. A lot of things could have gone wrong, but still. Mark could have also maybe played a little bit better. He positioned in maybe not an ideal spot with... So basically what happened for the play we're talking about here, if you haven't watched the game or don't plan to watch the game, is Mark managed to get the ball away from Chris on turn 7, at which point Mark then moved into an area that looks pretty secure, but I think there was a better spot for him to be that was farther away. The troll blitzed in, knocked the ball free, the thrower was able to get up, pick up the ball, and walk it in. A lot of things could have gone wrong to make that impossible for Chris, so Chris did get pretty lucky. The ball could have scattered somewhere shitty, basically. But still... 1-1 tie, pretty good, all things considered. Much better than the last time they met when it was a 1-1 tie and Mark ate a death. So let's call this a positive change for Mark. Also, Mark can't roll under 6, apparently, ever. Just is how it is. Rolled 60k. Got some level ups as well. Famous Nathan, I think, was level 2 before, is level 3. Either way, both these werewolves have tackle, which is crazy and annoying as someone who has lots of dodge and is going to play Mark next. One touchdown away from this ghoul leveling up, which is good. Heckenmuller didn't really get anything either. At this point, Mark doesn't need to hire anything, though. This is all the players he needs. The rest of these are just shitty zombies. Rephrase. The rest of the players available are just shitty zombies, and he already has 5 of them. Meh. If Mark is feeling saucy, what he could do is fire some of these zombies, because he is currently at 13 players. Could make the argument you only need 12. That said, I could also see the argument being that in this league, Necro really don't hit especially hard compared to some of the other teams. Mark's team is developing very, very nicely, so he does hit relatively hard. But I could definitely understand, you want the extra players in case things go poorly. So at this point, Mark should just save up his money. Could maybe consider picking up Real number 4, but I don't think that's a worthwhile use of funds. I would just sit on it, build bank, keep going from there, hope regeneration continues to work, but if you don't, you've got some money to carry you forward. But yeah, maybe to prevent bloat, you could fire a zombie. Then keep you with 12 players still, but is what it is. Big targets, ghouls leveling up to level 2 to get some wrestle on them, but barring that, flesh golems, whites, pretty much anything down here can get SVP, and it is good, and Mark's been very fortunate in that all of his SVP is going to good players, so that is good. Let's take a look at Chris's team. Chris had a pretty good week SVP-wise. Oh, we didn't do SVP totals. We'll do that here. Mark only walking away with 8, which is a little bit unfortunate. Chris walking away with a lot more with 3 casualties, the pass, and the touchdown. So looking at 6, 10, 15. Pretty weak for Chris. And Chris rolled 80k. He apparently is taking whatever power Mark had because he is rolling really, really well again. Puts him at 160. I would now that this thrower is level 2, I would hire a second thrower. Gives you another backup ball carrier. I think that's definitely a good thing. Troll is actually shockingly and terrifyingly close to level 3. Amazing things happen when you get block on big guys. What can I say? Maim hit level 3, which is really good. Got guard. Absolutely the right choice, I think. I think one of the blitzers leveled up too. Maybe. Either way, Garrosh now has Mighty Blow if he didn't before. Tagar has guard. Looking good. Thrower got block, which I think is really good, and Gazlo 2 got sidestep, which I think is what we talked about getting last time, so that's good. But yeah, I would get a thrower. It'll leave you with 70k in the bank, and at that point you can pretty much be guaranteed to rehire a Black Orc if things go poorly, or a Blitzer. So this team is looking very, very terrifying. 6 fan factor total. I think Chris has only lost, 1 game. Lost it pretty hard, but only lost the 1 game. Yeah, but either way, this is probably one of the teams to beat, I would say, right now. This team and Jessup's team are probably our scariest 2 at this stage of the game. We'll see. The slowness of the York team is definitely one of its downfalls. That said, Chris is starting to get big enough where he can afford to spread out his forces a little bit more. We'll see what happens. I really like that he's playing with goblins, by the way, if I haven't mentioned that. Orc linemen are really nice, but I think it says a lot about the Orc team where you don't ever want to hire them. I don't know if Chris necessarily wants to buy more players, same with Mark. He could look at getting more goblins. I would say the second thrower is a good idea, but you could go without it as well. It's not super essential, but I would say it's a worthwhile use of 70k. Still, keep Team Valley down. You could definitely avoid that. Rolling with 12 players is just fine. I think that wraps us up for the week. Yep, we did my matchup first because that's what we do. Let's take a look. Let's look at rankings because they're kind of fun here. Mark, pretty solidly at number 1 with 5 wins. Currently undefeated, which is good on him. Chris, not surprised here. That's why you have 6 fan factor. Chris with only 1 loss as well. Just up there with 3 wins. Actually all pretty close up here. Everybody's really close except for Andrew and Zach are kind of here at the bottom by themselves. But the rest of us are all pretty close together. Mark is way out in front though with 5-2. Pretty huge. Nothing matters. We are now at our halfway point though. So things are going to start to get a little more interesting as we approach the group stage. Let's start taking a look at next week. We've got Zach versus Greyduk here. This is going to be kind of a mess of a game. Assuming that Droid God of Voice gets fired, this team will be looking at 1050 for its team value, and Greyduk probably has way more than that. Yeah, with... Let's see, both blitzers out. So which elf would put this up to 1200? And then let's see here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So still missing. So we'll be at 1270. So 220 is a lot of inducement money. Yeah. It's not a lot more than I guess than he's had before, but definitely something worth considering in terms of what to get. I think there are some star players that might be worthwhile, but I think he'd probably want to lean more towards extra Apothecary, extra reroll, Babes, all that fun stuff. Wizard is okay. It's still less good against an elf team because anybody can pick up the ball, but because Dark Elves aren't quite as fast as other elf teams, could make an argument that it's okay against them. Wizard and Babe, never a bad combination for 200. I still think Great Axe should win this game. She just has a lot more skills, basically, and can move the ball a lot better. So we'll see how it goes. Certainly, if her armor braves like it did this week, that could change entirely. We've got heavy hitters round 2. Let's see, 14-10 for Chris. Let's say he doesn't buy the thrower. I think that's probably what he will do. 14-10 versus... Let's see here. So Pester gets hired. We'll be at 12-20. And then... Yeah, no mercenaries at that point. Even with a 3 out, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, I could see not hiring that because so what do we say here? This will be at 12-20 versus the 14-40 of Chris, or 14-10. So at that point, at this point, Chris is only giving away 190, which is a pretty big difference between 190 and the 250 that he could be giving up, because that's a wizard and a reroll, which is a pretty big jump. So I'd say Chris probably doesn't want to buy the thrower just to keep his team value down against Andrew. Certainly wouldn't fault him for picking up the thrower. I think it's a good idea long term, but I think best short term plan is to just stick with giving Andrew 190 and keep going from there. In terms of picking a winner, Chris has just so many skills and so much guard. Last time they met, yeah, 2-0 loss. I'm expecting Andrew to not win this game, honestly. It's possible that the Nurgle Warriors do a lot of work, but going up against a team with that much armor is tricky. We'll see. I mean, the Superior Blitz will help, but Chris is getting more and more guard. He's got 2 guard pieces already, one of which is on a pretty mobile blitzer. We'll see. I mean, like I said, things can definitely go wrong. If Chris forgets about Stink, too, things can go poorly for him there, because Chris likes to throw the ball around a little bit. But I don't know. I think Chris will probably win that game relatively handily. How big of a score difference is sort of a different problem altogether. I won't look at that week yet. Looking at next matchup here, we've got Orville versus Jessup. Last time I predicted this horribly incorrectly because Orville went on a tear. But I don't know about this time. He's got a lot more dodge than he did before. Has a war dancer now. We'll see. Looking at 1480 for team value, so he doesn't hire anybody, and he shouldn't, so let's just assume he sticks at 1480. Orville at 1370. So that would be an argument for not hiring the catcher. Is at this point, Orville's getting 100k. If he buys the catcher, he's not going to get anything. But what he gets for that is kind of a debatable point, I would say. Well, wait, let's check mercenaries here. No, he'll be okay. He'll still have 11. So, I don't know. I think the force strength definitely changes things a lot. We'll see. I mean, I was shocked last time, so I don't even want to call anybody on this one here. Oh, where is this? Yeah. I mean, you're 142. Hit pretty hard. We'll see. I mean, Jessup's gotten pretty lucky on hitting people that he shouldn't be able to hit, so things could go wrong for Orville, certainly. But I don't know. It kind of depends on how much dodge procs. If it's like my dodge, not at all, so we'll see what happens. Call got wrestle. I don't know if I noticed that before, but I don't know. Orville's got a fair number of skills. He's got a lot of hitting. We'll see. I'm going to lean towards tie game. Orville's pretty fast. Jessup's not pretty. I don't think Jessup plays very well when he's got people that are as fast as him. The extra inducements probably going to go to a reroll, so 5 rerolls, a lot to work with. Orville can afford to reroll some kind of shitty blocks that he might want to change into not so shitty blocks. So we'll see. Lots of options available for Orville in terms of that. I would say a tie game is pretty likely at that point. And then finally, me versus Mark. Oh god, I am not excited for this game whatsoever. Let's see, he'll be at 10 players, he'll be at 1,300 if I'm not mistaken. And Mark's team, while bigger than that, isn't that much bigger than that, I think. 1440 actually, so I'm going to get 140, which means just 100 basically. I don't know. I would probably get a 4th reroll because it's Elf Ball and I need all the rerolls I can get. That point, it might be able to be Wily. I don't know. Our last matchup did not go very well at all. I got pretty screwed on weather stuff, so that didn't help. And I just rolled poorly. I don't know. I think I can beat Mark. I'm pretty wily, and I'm pretty good at the old, throw the ball downfield thing. That said, Mark does a lot of guard. He's got a lot of tackle, which basically means that, 3 of my level ups don't matter. We'll see how it goes. As long as I don't get too screwed, 4 of my level ups don't really matter that much against those 2 pieces. As long as I don't get too screwed on kickoff event things, I think I should be able to make a pretty good game of it with a 4-3 roll. So let's say I'll win. Sure, I don't think I'm going to actually, but let's say I'll win. God, this is just so much stuff to get through. Maybe I can dodge around. I don't know. We'll see. Mixed confidence, I guess, is how I feel. Well, no. Honestly, if I'm realistic, I think Mark is probably going to win that game. Let's just say that. Mark's going to win. I think I can make a game out of it, but we'll see how well it goes. Hall of Fame. This video is running long. Let's run through this quickly. Most experienced player. Woo, Amber. Hold on to this, but not by a lot, though. Launchpad McQuack is definitely catching up. Only 2 players not level 3 on this list, so League is definitely developing pretty quickly here. Best score goes to Cheese, which is exciting. Amber next, Famous Nathan right behind it, and then a lot of 3s actually. Pretty surprising to see that much clumped together. Yeah, looks pretty good. Going with the clear dominance of that chart. Launchpad ahead of me because I didn't throw enough, or I don't remember what happened. My thrower didn't get enough out there. Either way, pulls ahead with 9. I'll catch it back though. It'll be fine. Trappist Logic with 7. Dog with 7 as well, and then we start to fall off pretty quickly after Stompy the Bear. Pretty good. No interceptions yet. God, why won't that happen yet? Actually might happen with Orville and Jessup, but I said that last time it didn't happen. Most violent player goes to, the Troll with 5, which is pretty good. Lots of damage on here. I don't know. Orcs with the most, not surprising there. Chris loves smashing things really hard, apparently. Best runner, people learn to pad out their stats now. So at first I was like, this isn't really that accurate, but honestly, it's as long as everyone's doing it, it's relatively accurate. Thrall with 210. How many touchdowns did he have? 3. So Thrall picks up the ball and holds it for a really long time. Good on him. Trappist Logic, not surprised to see up there. Same with Launchpad McQuack. These are throwers that'll hold on to the ball, move around, and then chuck. So pretty standard. Mark with pretty much the best spread overall, I would say, for who holds the ball. Best throwing, I threw farthest, not surprising because that's what I do with my thrower. Launchpad McQuack pretty close behind me, and then pretty big drop off from there. Dog kind of close, but Jessup, because he's faster, can afford to throw shorter distances, so pretty good there. Killing. Congratulations to Gary36 for joining the chart and for preserving our 1 death a week rule. I don't know why this became a rule last season. I don't know why it's still a rule now. It is what it is, I guess. I think statistically we're still behind where we should be, though. So, whatever. Best receiver, Cheese. Muffins. Pretty good there. Lots of 4s in here. Lots and lots of elves on this list. And some humans. Not surprising, these are the teams that throw. So pretty cool. I don't know if I talked about this a lot when we started the league, but we've got a really balanced league this season. A couple of really heavy hitting teams, a couple of really fast teams, a couple of super agility teams. I mean, it's really good. We've got a really good set of balance. Quick recap of my predictions. I think that Griddock will win. I think that Chris will win. I think did I say tie game here? I'm going to say tie game now. If I didn't, I think Mark will win. So lots back and forth, basically. Cool. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll talk to you later.